Some people get knocked down by life. Me, I got kicked, twice, by a stranger, then dragged 7 meters by a moving bus, like an Amazon package no one even bothered to tape shut. My hand stuck in the door, my body outside. The bus in motion. Nope, not a metaphor. I mean literally. And the wildest part? That wasn't even the end of it. There was a love confession, a coming out, an old flame reappearing. Oh, and did I mention the 2 flying kicks? Yeah, I wish I was making that up. All I meant to do that morning was hand in a leave of absence form. That night, I was supposed to be home recording an audition monologue for a drama school in London. No grand declaration, no audience. Just one thought. What if life didn't have to follow the plan? I was 20-something, a third-year student. My life followed class schedules and films. Orderly, predictable, like a subway map. But one day, I just couldn't do it anymore. I stopped listening in lectures, my mind kept drifting. There was a fire in my chest, but no place to burn. So I hit pause, decided to apply to drama school in London. No guarantees, no training. Parents had no clue. And that's how the story began. Anyways, it was a sunny Tuesday. I stood in front of my mirror, pulled on jeans, wore a wrinkled t-shirt with bubbly letters that read, "I am beautiful." Not my style, but whatever. After 2 failed relationships, I was pretty convinced it's not like I'd bump into fate anyway. I looked in the mirror, puffy face, tired eyes, but still, almost fine. I walked into the student affairs office to officially quit being a student. Becca was behind the counter. She's the kind of person who makes you whisper automatically. She took my form, scanned it in silence, then asked, "You know where you're headed?" "Drama school," I said. "In London." She paused, stamped it with a solid thunk, and somehow smiled. "Good for you," she said. It wasn't much, but coming from Becca, it felt like a standing ovation. I stepped outside and let out a small, startled squeak, like I'd finally done it. Torn off the sticker that said student and placed a new one over my chest. Dreamer, doer, maybe even feature actor. The sun felt just right. The breeze was cinematic. I could almost hear the background music swelling. And then a bike spat past, then another, and another. Students rushed by with coffees, group chats, internships, class notes. The exact same rhythm I used to live in. I stood there, dream in motion, but no clear direction. They were all moving forward, and I had just stepped to the side. That's when the joy shifted, from lift off to drift, like walking off stage and realizing you don't know your next line. I started spiraling, so I snapped myself out of it, told myself, focus, get through the day, finish your self-tape, send it to the drama schools, and at least remember your monologue. I popped in my Shakespeare and walked to the bus stop, whispering lines to steady myself. And then a woman maybe in her 50s stormed toward me. Before I could even react, she kicked me. Yes, kicked me. A flying kick, right in the shin. I stumbled back. "Excuse me?" She pointed at her bag and shouted, "Thief!" I froze. She thought I was trying to steal her bag on the bus bench. I hadn't even noticed it was there. I opened my mouth to explain, maybe even apologize just to calm things down. She kicked me again. Higher this time. Right in my dignity. I backed off, didn't argue, and walked away. 10 minutes to the next stop. I muttered to myself, be a bigger person. Take the high road, just get home. But honestly, I was too naive. The next bus came. I stepped on, tapped my card, and bam! The door slammed shut on my hand. And the bus started moving. I was dragged 7 full meters. Yes, you hear me. 7 full freaking meters. If this were a movie, the shot would be eerily still. Sunlight flashing, wind blowing, me dragged along the curb like an unedited special effect. My dignity scraping off, inch by inch. A red light finally stopped the bus. I yanked my hand out in shock. Once I came to, I raised my hand ready to pound on the door. You boss! Green light. The bus drove off. No pause, no apology. Nothing. 10 minutes ago, I was fantasizing about becoming an actor. Now, I'd already made my debut, dragged onto stage by fate itself. Less than an hour into my accidental stunt career, I ended up in the emergency room. No fractures, the doctor said, just a mild sprain. But still, my arm was wrapped like a sushi roll. I sat in the waiting area, looking like someone who survived Les Mis barricade, still processing what had just happened. And Kevin showed up. Not for me. He was there for a checkup. Total coincidence. We'd met in class, talked occasionally. I'd always thought he liked the senior in the same class. He saw the bandage, sat down, and we made a small talk. I shared my dramatic bus story and mentioned the drama school in London. He paused, looked at me like he was waiting for his line, then said, I've always liked you. If you go to London, we could still video chat or maybe study vocab together. My brain stalled. Not because he liked me, but because all those casual invites I kept dodging, I'd been turning him down, thinking he liked the senior. So I played the matchmaker, set up alone time for them. Turns out they were never about the senior. They were about me. Before I could process it, Kevin glanced at his watch, said he had to get his blood drawn, and left. I sat there, arm still in a sling. I looked down at the eye stick he'd handed me. Matcha flavor. I hate matcha. But I held on to it, thinking, if life is a play, I was the actor with the wrong script but memorized every line anyway. After leaving the hospital, I put my earphones in, hoping Shakespeare might calm my nervous system. And then I looked up. There he was, the Korean guy. We met not long after my breakup at a cafe. He sat beside me, a woman on his other side trying to talk to me across him, eager and uninvited. He looked at me, and I looked back. We both laughed. That night, we exchanged contacts. The next day, dinner. Then long walks, ocean talks, and the kind of listening my ex never offered. A few weeks later, we met again in Japan. One night at a teppanyaki bar, the chef asked if we were a couple. He laughed. No, just friends. My heart sank. But a few minutes later, he reached for my hand under the counter and didn't let go. The next night, we kissed at the top of Tokyo Tower. City lights, skyline, a quiet confession. I thought maybe it was the universe giving me a small redemption after a long relationship that ended in betrayal. But no. A few weeks later, I found out he was also dating my friend, a girl from the Chinese literature department who had no idea I'd ever been in the picture. And now he was walking toward me from the opposite direction. I'd rehearsed this moment 100 times, but when it finally happened, I had no lines. We were about to pass each other, but instead of pretending not to see me, he stopped. Hey, he said, like nothing had ever been complicated. Hey, I replied, as if that was the only word left in my vocabulary. He glanced past me and said, I'm headed to the Chinese literature department. Of course he was. I nodded. There was a pause, long enough to ask something real. Was I ever something? But I didn't. Just a small smile, a soft take care, and he walked away, straight toward her building. I turned to leave and caught my reflection in the glass door. Messy hair, a scraped hand still red from the pavement, and that ridiculous t-shirt, "I am beautiful." God. I crossed my arms, not because I was cold, but to hide the words, and maybe, just for a moment, to hide myself too. Still recovering from the shame, I randomly ran into someone else, the senior, the one I thought Kevin liked. We weren't that close, but with him, conversation never needed a warm-up. And then I lost all self-control. We grabbed seats at a nearby cafe. I told him everything. The ex, the Korean guy, Tokyo Tower, the heartbreak, and a dumb hand holding on the restaurant's table. Basically, a full season of a dating reality show. He laughed so hard, he slapped the table. And somewhere between the self-mockery and the oversharing, I felt lighter. 3 hours passed in a blink. As we stood to leave, he hesitated, then said, "I think I like Kevin. Do you think I have a shot?" "Kevin?" I asked. "As in Kevin? He nodded. I didn't answer right away, because all I could think was, this day cannot be real. What do you even say when your carefully arranged love triangle turns out a triangle you didn't even know you were in? The senior had no clue Kevin liked me, and he just caught feelings during the little setups I'd so earnestly arranged. I suddenly felt guilty. The girl who once bragged about her gaydar, misfired twice in one day, and somehow authored a love story with all the wrong pairings. As we said goodbye, a light rain began to fall. He rode off into the mist, and I stood there, letting the drop sink in, thinking. I thought turning in that form meant I was finally calling the shots, starting fresh, owning the story. But really, everyone else had been making the moves. I was just reacting. And the worst part, I played the role like I'd rehearsed it. That night, my mind kept skipping through scenes. Leave of absence, flying kicks, bus dragging, hospital, a love confession, a mix-up, an old flame reappearing. A full day's worth of chaos played on loop. I stood in front of the same mirror from that morning, but I wasn't the same person. Makeup smudged, hair fired, still wearing my one-woman costume, "I am beautiful." But somehow, for once, I didn't roll my eyes. Maybe I am, I thought. Not flawless, not fearless, just here, beautiful in the mess. I hadn't eaten dinner, didn't rehearse a single line, just stood there, staring at the girl in the mirror. And then, for no reason at all, I laughed. Bent over, wheezing, eyes brimming. The kind of laugh that comes from somewhere too deep. But somehow, it felt liberating. I used to think growing up meant peeling off every label. Student, daughter, girlfriend. I thought I'd find the real me underneath. But maybe it's the labels that keeps us grounded. Maybe we need them, just to feel like life has direction. And right now, I'm none of them. Not a student, not someone's lover, not yet an actor, not anyone impressive. Just me, trying to keep up, saying the wrong things at the wrong time, getting dragged through the day, missing my mark. And somehow, still not off stage. I always thought life started once you were ready. But life doesn't wait for your cue. It just begins. But maybe this is the answer. It's not about who am I, but about what I become, moment by moment. At the end of the day, I didn't get to practice my monologue. But life, it played on. And you know what? The whole damn thing was improvised.